Welcome to TCW Exclusives. We are here with former HIC champion, former tag team champion, Jakovski Reznov. Jakovski, how are you?
Doing good.
Jakovski, you've been at TCW for how long now?
I'll say 2.5 years.
What made you start?
Long story. Keep it short. Apparently, met with this guy wrestler called Jacko, and apparently he said, "Come through, go watch the show." And I'm like, "Okay." So I came in, and I'm like, "Oh, so it's kind of like, I would say, WWE type of style." So I was like, "Okay, I dig this," and I started coming more. And then at one point, I said to myself, "How about I maybe give this a try?" And then next thing you know, it just became a thing.
All right. You referenced WWE. Who are some of the guys that influence you? Like, these are the type of guys that inspire you, or maybe got you into wrestling. Like, name a few.
I could mention probably John Cena because of like his motto, what he stands for, what he does, and he actually lives by it. Who else could I mention? I'll say maybe Daniel Bryan because this guy just really blew off the roof. He's just showing his skills, and he could be better, but unfortunately, suffering the injury that he had, who knows how long, but hopefully he'll come back stronger.
All right. Jakovski, you've had quite the interesting rise to the top. I mean, you've become an instant fan favorite. You've worked hard, and people, I think, have come around to really appreciate just how hard you've worked. Tell me about take us back to Forsaken last year, where you fought BDM when he's cleaning the walls and for number one contendership for the HIC title. What was going through your mind?
The only thing that was going through my mind is, like, who wanted it more? Was it BDM to prove a point that I didn't deserve nothing in this industry? Or was it my point to prove that I was destined to be the hardcore intercontinental champion?
All right. So, I mean, how did it feel when you beat BDM? What was going through your mind? Like, from the moment that you heard the 3 count, how did you feel?
I felt like finally something happened for me. I felt like just a fire lit under me, and I felt like this is my way, and this is what I'm going for. And I felt like it's all in my hands. All I gotta do is execute.
Okay. Let's take it back a little bit to your earlier days. You had that match with Albie Ram, and we know what came of it. And
Yes,
yeah, how did that affect you mentally? How did you feel about that? He got hurt. I mean, with BDM getting hurt the way he did, whether it was unintentional. I mean, it wasn't unintentional, and I'm sure you and Albie Ram was. Mentally, how did that affect you, and how did it affect your matches?
It really affected me deeply because it's just I didn't want to injure somebody that could have had a further career, and now who knows what Albie Ram is doing. I just wish him well, and hope everything is going good with his life. And mentally, it really hit me deep. Like, I didn't know what to do. So, I felt like asking BDM for help. And that help was probably the biggest thing that helped me just get my rise to the top.
All right. So what are you trying to say? Like, BDM helped you feel better about everything that happened, or do you mean? What exactly do you mean? Like, BDM helped you get your rise to the top? Like, do you mean? Are you referencing to Forsaken when you beat him?
I can reference to that, and I can also reference to, like, off of the books. He really helped me make sure that the same mistake doesn't happen again.
Yeah, BDM has gone on record. He did work with a lot of the younger guys like yourself. All right. So talk to me about going into that match with Boondocks. How did you feel? What was going through your mind?
I felt like this is the biggest match of my career. This is my defining moment. And what was going through my mind? Well, lots of things. First is a guy that pretty much held the title for about 7 months, I would say. And then apparently he did something to Prince. I don't know what was the deal. Then there was the 24-hour rule. And finally, Violent cashed in on that opportunity, and he finally stripped him of that title, I will say. And then 2 weeks later, at TCW Mania 4, Bundaxman won the title back. And what was going through my mind is knowing also another past record is I knew that I beat the Bundaxman twice before that. Fair and square. No cheating, no cheap ways. 1, 2, 3. That's all it took. And the next thing that happened is that match. Me and the Bundaxman. Winner takes it all. And I'll say probably my most defining moment, because that's when my rise to the top ever since that day, I felt like my career skyrocketed. I felt like I had the whole of things. I felt like I am somebody now. Everybody was looking at me back. Oh, this guy is not nothing. He's hurt people. He's just been on the bottom feeder. He's been a bottom feeder. He's just going nowhere. And now look where I am. I am putting on matches, classics that people enjoy. I can say yes, I don't talk on the mic a lot. But you know, if you're gonna try to test me, I will prove my point, and I will be a better man.
All right, Jakovski, that's quite the insight into your psyche. So take us back to when you heard the 3 count and you realized you got the gold put in your hand for the first time. How did that feel? Did you hear the crowd?
Yes, I heard the crowd, and probably there was tears in my eyes because I was been waiting for this whole time. I've been waiting for my career-defining moment, and when that finally happened, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it happened. Had tears in my eyes, and told myself, I'm finally something. I'm finally someone.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had more belief in myself than I ever did.
Do you mean that just in the ring, or do you mean outside the ring as well? As a person?
Outside as well.
All right. Jakovski, tell us about how, from your, how long was your HSC title reign?
9 months.
9 months. Could have had a baby in that much time.
Yes.
So, take us back. What was the toughest match during that 9-month title reign? Who was the toughest?
To be really honest, I would say Fat Nick.
Now, do you mean Fat Nick was difficult to beat, or was Fat Nick just like a real thorn in your side with all the cheap tax and the waterboarding and beating you down, or do you mean Fat Nick as in you didn't know if you were going to walk out the winner? Did you ever have that?
I really felt like I want to walk out the winner because this guy has beat me 3 times non-stop, and he pinned me 1, 2, 3. I was for the past reference, I never beat Fat Nick. And then what happened is this guy apparently emerged as the dark side, called the Enigma, and I felt like he was more of a threat than I ever imagined. It's the thing I hit my head is, could I really beat this guy, or he's gonna be the end? As he said that my reign will be my downfall.
All right. So, at any point during your match, did you think Fat Nick Did you think Fat Nick could have beat you at some point during those matches? Did you take him that seriously?
I would have felt like at any point he could have beaten me. He could have beaten me down. But the thing about me is I don't give up. I don't want to be the guy that would be the last man standing. I want to be the guy that's on the top. And I wanted to prove that even though he had me pinned, every corner, every way possible, that there's no way you're taking something away from me so dearly that I've worked so hard.
Which match was tougher with him? The singles match? Or the one where you had to put him away in the casket?
The one that I had to put him away.
That was tougher?
Yeah, and then apparently from backstage what I heard is apparently the casket broke. So it was right away an announcement that the match was switched to a last man standing match.
Where you had to lay the guy out in the casket.
Yep.
So that was pretty tough, taking a guy like Fat Nick who's maybe 230, 236.
Yes.
So would you say he was the toughest opponent during HSC title reign?
Yes, he was.
Take us back to when you joined the Revolution. You and Johnny Nelson joined your Revolution. You guys beat down TPC. You guys set up a, quite the interesting group. And the fans didn't turn on you. They still liked Jakovski Reznov. They still liked Johnny Nelson or John the Cat Hardy at the time. Tell me about your time in the Revolution. Like, how did you feel about being in the Revolution? Did you learn anything from the Revolution?
I really can't say if this was the worst or the best decision for my career, but the thing was, the only reason I joined that group is because of my former partner, Johnny Nelson. Because he was my brother. He was a comrade. He was like a brother to me. Like, I felt like he was my own flesh and blood. And then the only thing that was in mind is, why is BDM trying to convince me that this apparently is a group that wants to make a point, that everybody in that group that was so-called maybe like an underachiever, that there was something more to them than just being, like I said before, a bottom feeder.
Okay. Here's a strange title defense. It was very interesting to see this. Take us back to Triple Threat Sunday when you defended the HIC title against Jay Storm and Machine. What were you thinking about that match?
I was thinking, what better way to test my reign and test my strength against probably two of the strongest guys that were probably on the roster. I mean, come on, Machine, ever since returning, he made quite the impact. He's been destroying competition left and right. He's been gearing people up. He's been stalling people. I mean, look at it. Stalling Fat Nick, who's nearly 230, 240. I mean, that's just insane.
Right.
And then you have probably the worst thing that could have happened for the whole company when the cult invaded TCW. They've been warning, they've been saying it, and it finally happened. And I got a taste of, I'll say, every member of the cult, and I'll say it's quite an asset. I mean, I could say it's the worst thing that could have happened, but I felt like it could have been the best thing that ever happened, because it made everybody on the roster alert. It made everybody see that these guys mean business, and we need to step up.
So, since you face all the members of the cult, who's the toughest member of the cult? Including Jacob Ayers.
Really, if I really would say, I'll really say Jay Storm.
The toughest guy to beat.
Yes.
Where were you when the cult came in? Were you backstage? 'Cause, I mean, I believe they came in at Forsaken. You opened up the card against BDM.
Yes.
Where were you? Were you backstage? Did you already leave? Were you already home?
I
Were you watching on a monitor?
I was just backstage, just finally enjoying that I won the right to face the Boondocks Men. And all of a sudden, there's a commotion about an invasion. So there's cameras backstage. There's the big screen right there. And I look, and oh my God, what has happened to this company? I mean, after probably one of the very crucial last man standing match between Sinister X and Fat Nick, but everybody gave both of them a standing ovation, and then, boom, three masked guys, all different colors, walked in and just totally destroyed both Sinister X and Fat Nick.
Tell me, how about the Purge? How is the Purge different than the cult? From your experience, from you've fought them and you've been attacked by both of them. How is it different?
Really hard to tell the difference between these two factions, so-called. I mean, with the cult, I challenged, like, I could just bring a little past reference again. I challenged that kid to a match. I beat him, and I went against all the odds, all 4 members in that one ring. And not to mention, I put myself in danger, knowing that Jacob Ayers was the strap-off opportunist, and he could cash that in on any championship, any moment, any time, anywhere. And I still went against all odds.
What up?
Sorry about my ringtone. We just, yeah, sorry, I'm a dedicated fan. Nothing against anything.
I also I love that kid too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he's come around.
Yes.
Couple more questions. Let's talk about you at Final Mark. What did you think about going into the second match of BDM, title on the line? You know, what were you thinking?
I was thinking about the past match that we had at Forsaken, and I was thinking, I mean, the only reason I thought the Revolution was made was, as I said, to show what the underachievers were made of. But instead, I was right the whole damn time. He just wanted to get rid of me because he's been jealous over the fact that I've done something more than what he did for the past year. While I've been busting my ass left and right, sweeping through the competition, defending my title from all types of matches, triple threats, last man standing, out singles matches, even, who knows, false count anywhere.
Jakovski, it is documented that during that time period, you had the longest title reign between any other group. Between the tag team titles, between any other title, and between any other championship, you had the title longer than the TCW champion, the Extreme champion, and tag team champions. You were the longest reigning champion in TCW compared to the other champions. Tell us tell us a little bit about you and Johnny Nelson's friendship. What was it like before he
It's just me and him. I mean, I've been just a guy nobody, and then I noticed him, and I'm like, talk with him. I'm like, what's up? And like, I've seen your longest tag team champion, and one of the former Hardcore champion, former Extreme champion, and former TCW champion, meaning Grand Slam champion, first ever Grand Slam champion, and just talking with him, and just felt like I could relate to somebody, and then I talked this idea with him. See, you're on a streak. I am on a streak. How about we test this? I've been the #1 contender for the Extreme title when Official D was the champion. And he was the #1 contender for the TCW title when Mikey the Beast decided to cash in on him after winning the TCW title in a 5-man scramble match, pinning Sinister X.
So, were you guys close, or were you guys just work pals?
Felt like it was really close. He felt like a brother to me, because anytime us two step together in the ring, we show what we're made of. We put on matches that people want to remember, performances that are always remembered. We showcase our skill, and we prove to the world that we're just not here to stay. We're here to make a statement. We're here to be the future of TCW.
Alright, Jakovski. So, taking a break from the Nelson thing, tell us about some matches that you've had. If you could rank your top 5 greatest matches, what would they be in your opinion? Or something that you liked watching. Like somebody you liked working with. Talk to us about that.
I mean, I'll bring it back all the way back to rookie career when I would say I faced TPC Abraham for the very first time. And we started lockup, everything. He whips me off. I go upside down on the gate. Next thing you know, probably one of the worst things that could have happened. I am gushing blood. Full blood on. All over my face. And the referee asked, do you want to end this match already? I could just end it. I said, no. We got to keep going. So I fought bloody against TPC Abraham. And somehow, someway, after, I'll say, 14, 15 minutes of a grueling match, I pulled off the victory.
Alright. Tell us more. So, any other match that stuck out that you're really, really proud of?
I would definitely want to say me versus Johnny Nelson, Final Mark 2013. I would say probably one of my favorite matches that I watch over and over again.
Did you watch that match to prepare for your TCW Mania 5 matchup with Johnny Nelson?
Any type of matches that I was involved with in Johnny Nelson, anytime we had one-on-one competition, I always rewatched those matches to learn from my mistakes and to prepare myself for any underhanded tricks that he has.
Alright. So, did you change your workout routine by any chance when preparing for your match with Johnny Nelson?
I would say definitely knowing that he is fast and much quicker, I wanted to probably add just some cardio to my workout so I can have more stamina, last longer in the match, and also to be a lot stronger than I was before.
Yeah, you're always saying even stronger, always getting stronger. You always put that hashtag online a lot, and you mean that. You do dedicate your workouts on your Instagram. We see it online. We've seen some video packages for Jakovski.
Yes.
You know, you are what you say you are. Jakovski, how important was walking out of TCW Mania 5 to you as the winner?
See, going back to TCW Mania 4, or I would say maybe even going back to Final Mark 2013, when I lost to Johnny Nelson, because that match was for the #1 contender to face former Extreme Champion Jacob Ayers at TCW Mania 5. So no, I lost that match, and I was just this close to winning that match. It just meant everything to me. So I said to myself, knowing that TCW Mania 4 was around the corner, I had to do something. So why not challenge Johnny Nelson again to another match and finally beat Johnny Nelson? I'll say so-called my rival, because me and him, I'll say we're quite the opposite. It's like I'm more about being the better man, while he's being about more of being a little cockish, I'll say.
Alright, a little cocky. Alright. John, when you threw him off the roof, did you plan on killing him or just breaking bones in his body? Or were you just acting out of anger? Like, what? Because I know he took you out before that. He attacked you backstage. You missed a week from that attack. He threw you on a bunch of cut logs, a bunch of branches that were just, cut down, in the arena. What was going through your mind when you guys were fighting up there? I mean, you see when you review the footage, you see that you told him he had nowhere left to run. He did come at you first, and you did defend yourself.
You really think about it, Johnny Nelson, the only thing he has been doing is always stabbing me in the back. See, he wants to talk about how much of a friend I'm not, when clearly I was the friend that I was to him. I mean, taking back, I just want to ask you, Johnny Nelson, where were you when the cult was attacking me? Nowhere to be found. When the Purge was attacking me? Nowhere to be found. And then, when everybody else was attacking me, nowhere to be found. You want to say you had my back when I haven't had yours? Look the other way. I had your back ever since we became friends. Ever since I became your brother. And look what you have done.